So it's just the end of the day, Sunday, March 14th, 2010. It's actually the 15th now. I think it's probably about 1:45 a.m. I just got home a little while ago, and at the end of the day, I shared a meeting, a very poignant meeting with a couple of friends and fellow teachers and healers in their own rights, and very much doing very dedicated work to help, you know, be lights in this process that we're in terms of people waking up and, doing, self-awareness work and spiritual consciousness work. And some events that have kind of taken place over the last, starting about 6 months ago, 5 months ago, around October, November. So I met with them to share some very important information that was really kind of privy for them. But one of the major topics of discussion was around an issue about, past life experiences and how connecting to avatars of old, be they, spiritual teachers, most specifically, the teacher Jesus, the Christ within the Christian faith. And so we talked about that and some some things I meant to share, but I guess the reason why I'm sharing this is I'm about to read something. I have a devotional. You guys have heard me read from it from time to time. I subscribe. I used to go to a place called the Spiritual Living Center and a daily devotional called The Science of Mind. And it's a non-denominational spiritual guidance kind of daily devotional. And I don't read it every day. Some days I read it. I read it a lot. Sometimes I carry it in my bag to read as Spirit so leads me, sometimes before my Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga classes or at the end. And oftentimes, and what I do, I intentionally don't read it. I don't even open it up to the day until I feel that, I'll know if I'm supposed to read something from that day. I just get a sense of knowing, and I just bring it in with me. And 9 out of 10, or if not 10 out of 10 actually, my students can attest to this, that no matter whatever topic I open up the class with, and I usually share some thoughts or some ideas around our spiritual growth and our mental growth in this life experience. And then I go to read whatever it is for the day, and it is right on point. It just reiterates exactly what I'm speaking on, and it's and very detailed and well. So this is for Phil and for Ananda, her new name. So as I was getting home this evening, a lot of energies and a lot of things flowing through, and I said, okay, I need to read something, and I pulled out one of my books that I'm currently reading called well, it doesn't matter, but and then I pulled out this devotional because Source was like, read. I felt pressed to read whatever today's devotional was, and I had not seen this or opened it up yet prior. And I laid it on the table, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just go to sleep. And again, Source, just an inner voice said, read. Open up and read what it says. We talked a lot about Mary and divine feminine energy and the figure, the person, Mary, who was the Virgin Mother in the Christ story. Perfect. So I open it up, and it's Sunday, March 14, 2010, and the title is, What Was Mary Doing? Today I enter the limitless variations of self-expression which the Divine Spirit projects into my experience. A quote from the Essential Ernest Holmes book. Bible students will remember the lovely story in Luke called the Annunciation. This occurred when Mary was approached by the angel Gabriel, who announced to her that she was going to give birth to Jesus. This gave her some concern, we are told, because she was not yet married to Joseph. yet she received this news with grace and acceptance. Still, because the story has no detail in it, I could not help but wonder what Mary was doing when the angel came. Was she praying? Was she sweeping? Was she thinking about her coming marriage? Was she somehow in a state of alertness? Whatever we may think of this story, it poses for us a beautiful metaphor. If a fine idea of a singular insight was lying in wait for us, would we be ready for it? Would we be quick enough to seize upon it and begin to develop it, or would we be so mired in fussing that we would miss it? In old-time metaphysics, angels stood for good thoughts, and the promise was that we were always surrounded by these angels. Consequently, the notion was that there was always inspiration of some sort that we could catch from this tense, infinite mind. When Paul wrote, "Awake thou that sleepest," I think he meant for us to pay attention to what God has for us. What will we be doing when the angel comes? The affirmation in the end reads, "Deep pleasure, joy, and knowing secure my mind and delight my heart as daily revelations tell me who I really am. Today I hold great interest in the things of the Spirit. I am alert to divine inspiration." Now Phil and Ananda and my friend Lori, who knew the meeting was occurring, which turned out to be nearly a 3-hour discussion and sharing of our thoughts, insights, and experiences. And I even brought up specifically the idea or the thought about what was it like for Mary to receive a message like that, and what her response was, and if I was in that position, for example, and how would I react? And yet somehow I understand, because I've received a certain level of understanding and a calling in my own way. My decision to take up leave and rid myself of various material goods that no longer serve me, so that I may lighten my load and pursue growth and nurturing and build a model for community building and doing my work in the physical and metaphysical realms in terms of my own contributions to helping people achieve, prosperity and abundance and self-love and appreciation, so that they can also be that and do that more in the world. The topic of discussion was really all around Mary this evening, and yet tangents off into the other connections. So I won't go into the details of that, and I share this really for the benefit of all, because this is my process, and yet this is everyone's process.